Mr. Priyank Kharge, good to have you with us here on ET Now. As always, two big announcements from the Karnataka government stables. First up, the IT policy and, of course, the space tech policy. We'll start with the IT policy first. You're looking at 11.5 lakh crore rupee worth of targets in terms of IT exports by 2030. What's the game plan to getting there, really?
Well, we are already achieving close to 5.3 lakh this year, and the idea is to double it in the next 4 years through services and through GCCs. And I think we will be achieving that much before the targeted policy deadline.
And interestingly, the policy also makes mention of a generation of close to 90 lakh jobs in the same period. But the question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind is that in the era of AI and where companies are looking to shore down the number of jobs per employee, given that automation has come to stay, how viable is this target that you've set for yourself?
Just look at the ecosystem that we have built over a period of time. We corner 47% of all investment in global capability centers. And now, whether it is AI or deep tech, it's getting into various sectors as well, in every possible vertical. And we are supremely confident that we'll be able to achieve it only for the fact that we have that kind of human resource here, that kind of talent pool availability here, that is not catering to the Bengaluru ecosystem alone. Now, if you look at the program that we have devised, the Nipuna program, it says skill locally, work globally. So why can't people who are being skilled in Bengaluru work in Brussels, Brisbane, Britain, anywhere across the globe? And people are looking for our talent pool. And we want to ensure that our reskilling and upskilling programs make our human resource the most employable talent pool in the world.
Right.
So if you ask me, that this too we will be able to achieve in the next couple of years.
Right. As far as your space tech policy is concerned, you've outlined an investment target outlay of $3 billion, I believe, by 2030 itself. Would you perhaps feel Bengaluru may have been a little late to the bus with regard to space tech itself, given that some neighbors of yours have probably already made advancements in this space? In that context, do you feel $3 billion may be too modest of a target? Could you have perhaps aimed for more?
No, I mean, see, the idea is not to compete with the neighbors, because we are really not competing with them. Well, they might think they're competing with us. But we love competition anyway, because it helps us be ahead of the curve. And more importantly, space tech, we are the leaders, whether it's SME and MSMEs. And more importantly, in our space tech policy, if you've seen it a bit closely, while we are concentrating on upstream, we are also concentrating on the downstream applications. So using space tech, using space apps to solve real life problems right here. So we have also starting a center of excellence in space for this, and we have some of the best industry partners that are here, and we have the ISRO, NAL, HAL. We have the entire ecosystem that is here. Only the launch pads are elsewhere. Well, they're doing the research and development here, they're doing their prototypes here, they're manufacturing here. The takeoffs are happening elsewhere, because that's because of the coastal advantage that they have. Whereas, although we have a long coastline, but we also have the seabird project here. So it becomes a little tricky, but everything else of the ecosystem is here.
Right. Well, I have you here, Mr. Kharge. I also have to ask you, I did read through the policies yesterday, and a lot of subsidies were also spoken of to a large extent: operational expense subsidies, land subsidies, and power reimbursement as well. And that found a prime real estate on those policies. There's been a lot of discourse when it comes to subsidies in the recent past, particularly in the context of Andhra Pradesh attracting so many investments, largely on account of the massive subsidies they're offering. I have to ask you, is this a slippery slope? And I know you've said you don't want to compete with too many neighbors of yours, but given the fact that subsidies seem to be the order of the day to attract investments, are these states in South India now venturing on a slippery slope?
No, I wouldn't say that we are venturing on a completely slippery slope, but slippery nevertheless. Only for the fact that you cannot try to attract investments by outbeating subsidies and incentives. You need to build that proper ecosystem as well, whether it's Hyderabad, whether it's Chennai, or whether it is Bengaluru. It's taken us 2-3 decades to do so. And it is not just because I have subsidies, people will come to me. It's not because I have land, they'll come to me. Like office space leasing is one of the most expensive in India, here in Bengaluru. And yet 47% of the entire GCC office space leasing that's happened last year is from my city of Bengaluru. We have not offered any SOPs. In fact, we do not offer any incentive and subsidies for investments in Bengaluru. It's always beyond Bengaluru. That's why we have come up with the local economic accelerator programs also, so that we can have cluster-based approach for sectors and verticals. And I think that's working for us. While giving subsidies, incentives, having the central government on your side might work for them, but I don't know how sustainable it will be when you are hugely revenue deficit state.
Okay. Speaking of competition and SOPs as well, there's been a lot of acrimony in the recent past, especially on social media with regard to Andhra's investments. Retorts from yourself, also Tamil Nadu, taking some criticism on account of losing that South Korean footwear brand to Andhra. The competition is heating up among South Indian states. But I have to ask you, is this good for competitive federalism? We've spoken about it a long time, but the fact that there is so much acrimony with regard to these attractions itself, even considering the fact that Andhra is truly part of the NDA and that could perhaps add to the political flavor that these discourses bring. I saw Mr. PTR here yesterday, your counterpart from Tamil Nadu. So while I understand there is some bonhomie and some warmth, is there also some acrimony between these states and their competition for investments?
No, see, of course there will be competition for investments. All of our vying for the same piece of the pie.
Sure, but the acrimony of it.
Yeah, I mean, see, what happens is we need to see where it's coming from. You cannot scavenge for investments based on somebody's, tweet or anything. Let's be fair. Let us pitch, you pitch, them pitch. And may the best man win. No problems with that. But looking at, just because somebody complains on a pothole, you pick that up and say that, okay, look, this is what, you can come here, we will do this. Or there's some other social problem, you pick that up and say that that's scavenging for investments, right? We have never done that, and we don't need to do that. But it all depends on who is leading, who is heading the state. But we're not afraid of competition. We thrive in it. In fact, we've excelled in it. And data speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
And we wish them well. I mean, if Chennai is trying to break the mold on startups, so be it. I mean, ultimately it benefits the country. If Vizag is trying to compete with Bengaluru, so that's their aspirational. We don't aspire to be them. They aspire to be us. Means that's good for us, right? And it's like you said, it also works on which side of the political fence you are on.
Absolutely. And keeping with investments itself, Bengaluru's second airport has been of great interest, especially with regard to the context by the state leadership just yesterday. 3 locations, I believe, have been identified. South Bengaluru right now seems to be the front runner. If you could just give us some insight on where the government is heading with regard to this decision making.
We have formed an expert committee to see how logistically it will be good for the movement of passengers as well as cargo, and how connectivity will be better, and more importantly, decongest Bengaluru. Right now, there's nothing in the South Bengaluru, or do we need to do it in the central Karnataka or something like that? So there are 3-4 locations that have been identified, and the expert committee is going to decide that soon, probably in a few weeks' time.
Right. But do you feel personally, since you're a Bengaluruite yourself, that South Bengaluru might have to well be a front runner, given that now there's so much talk about the Hosur airport coming up and people in South Bengaluru would rather board their flights from Hosur?
It should not happen at the whims and fancies of individuals. It should be data driven, and it should help the ecosystem at large. It should not become counterproductive. Although the idea is to ensure that we increase our economy, we increase our global connectivity, domestic connectivity. It should not be a political decision. It should be a data-driven decision, like how it has always been in Karnataka.
Right. But with regard to the airport itself, sir, with the existing Kempegowda airport has that 150 radius, clause which extends up until 2033. So is there a way to circumvent this, or do you feel that second airport may not actually become a reality until we pass this date?
No, I don't think so. That will be an issue. We are talking to the right people, and ultimately it's going to help them also, right? So, like when I say the airport is coming, it will not come in a year. It will not come in 2 years. It will take at least, even if you build it at the fastest possible time, it's going to take 5-6 years. So we are talking with KIL on this. We have onboarded them. We'll see how it goes.
And if it does happen, Hosur's stance as an airport very close to the Karnataka border in Tamil Nadu that will have to take a bit of a backseat. Again, competition between states, is that necessarily a good thing?
We are doing what is best for us. They are doing what is best for them. And like you said, in a federal structure, we are competitive. Nothing wrong. Ultimately, the country benefits. But the idea is to, as a minister for the state, I will look after my interests. And as a minister of Tamil Nadu, the concerned minister will look at their interests, right? So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. One last question before I let you go. There's been a lot of talk within Karnataka and Bengaluru itself, especially among industrialists in the recent past, with regard to the infrastructure problem. Eventually, the state leadership, including Mr. Damaya, including Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, had a meeting, and a lot of these industrialists have now come on board to actually form an advisory committee of sorts to lend expertise with regard to improving Bengaluru's infrastructure. Is there a game plan? Is it still work in progress? Where do you see this vision develop and go forward with regard to making Bengaluru better for living, better for industrialists, better for investments?
See, progress is always a work in progress. You just cannot say that I've done enough. And Bengaluru is growing exponentially. The central government said we'll be growing at 8.5%, but we are growing at 10.5%. We are scheduled to be the fastest growing city up to 2035. And if you read UN's report yesterday, that we are one of the densest cities in the world. And of course, infrastructure plays catch up, policy plays catch up, and we are working towards it. And whatever citizens groups, think tanks, institutions, corporate leaders, industry captains have to say, we have always taken it up. And we are building 95 kilometers more of metro, 160 kilometers of suburban rail. We are getting another 42 kilometers of north-south connectivity, east-west connectivity to through the tunnel, another 40 kilometers on the double-decker over the metro. So all these are work in progress. It will happen. And the Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Shivkumar, has formed a committee under me where I'll be talking to all these industrial corridors and IT parks on what exactly they would require, whether it is civic amenities, whether it's digital infrastructure, last mile connectivity, telecom connectivity. How can we ensure that more public infrastructure is built around it so that people can commute, not only commute easily, but also maintain a better work-life balance towards that. So post the Bangalore Tech Summit, probably in a couple of weeks, I will be heading out and meeting everybody, taking feedback, and ensuring that whatever feedback is given, there is some logical reasoning that we can attend to as a government.
What do you make of the criticism, though? I think Mr. Shivkumar also said the people who've lived in Bangalore and who've earned in Bangalore shouldn't be criticizing the city and the state.
Nothing that he's never said that they should not be criticizing. Let the criticism be constructive, even if you're in the opposition. See, last time we wanted to build a steel flyover across the city. They said, no, we don't want a steel flyover. Now we have suggested, even after showing it to Mr. Gadkari, he said it's a great idea to build a tunnel. Now they're saying no tunnel. Now if you're not ready for a flyover, you're not ready for a tunnel, how do you expect to transit? While we are building mass transit systems, we need alternative mechanisms, right? So the only thing is negativity does not take you anywhere. Now, how many industrialists have you seen tweet or go ballistic about Delhi air quality or Mumbai floods or Chennai floods? The government will just pick them up and take them. Here, we are actually listening to them. We are trying to solve their problems. Like I said, it's always a work in progress. Absolutely. And we cannot say that, okay, we just built one great infrastructure and leave it at it. People are coming here to Bengaluru because we are creating the highest employment. We are absorbing the highest migrant population here. That's why in the 16th Finance Commission, we are asking for better tax devolution so we can build better infrastructure, create more jobs. And who is coming here? Everybody from across India is coming here. Across the globe are settling here. So if we intend to be a global city, we need to start behaving like one. Number two, we also, governments, whichever government is there in power, should start building infrastructure towards those standards.
Right. Let's hope for a better Bengaluru then. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it.